All right, let's dive into this story. It all starts with, well, a viral video, a luxury car dealership, and a teenager who's about to turn 18.
Yeah, what we've got here is like a case study,
Hmm.
almost, in how something negative can turn into something positive,
Yeah,
something that spreads way beyond just social media.
it really is. It's almost like watching somebody turn a bad situation into a good one, like a pro. And we've got this detailed account to go on, but I want to hear what you think about the psychology of it all, the social dynamics, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure, for sure. So let's start with the video. That's where it all began. You see this young guy, Barron Trump, and he's trying to talk to this manager at this high-end dealership, Lux Auto House, it's called. And the manager is, well, he's pretty agitated. The showroom's full of people, but nobody does anything,
Yeah, it's almost like that bystander effect they talk about,
right?
where people are less likely to help if there are other people around. Makes you think, about whether we should speak up more when we see something wrong, even if it's uncomfortable.
Absolutely. But to get why the manager's acting like that, we got to go back a bit.
Hmm.
So Barron, he walks in wearing a MAGA hat,
Yeah.
which, people connect that with his father's politics. Now, did the manager do what he did because of politics? Or was he just unprofessional? I don't know.
Mm.
But it definitely got people mad online. And fast.
Yeah, it wasn't just about being rude to a customer, right? It's like it touched on this bigger thing about bias, about people being divided politically,
Hmm.
and how we need to like talk to each other better, especially with everything going on.
Totally. That video, it became like a lightning rod.
Yeah.
People from all sides were commenting, reacting. And here's where Barron's response gets really interesting. Instead of, adding fuel to the fire, he does something completely different.
Yeah, he basically said, let's be kind to each other. Turn the other cheek, almost. And what gets me is he's weeks away from his 18th birthday. Like, how mature is that?
It's night and day compared to the manager, right? The manager, he just reacted, maybe because of his own biases.
Mm,
But Barron, he thought about it and he responded with, like, grace.
exactly. He could have just gone after the dealership, the manager, made it public and everything, but he didn't. He focused on being positive, you know? And people picked up on that post he made, the one where he talked about it all. It went viral even more than the video itself.
And then you go to the comments on that post, and that's where you see it, the start of something bigger. Someone even suggested, like, hey, Barron, why don't you lead a campaign about this? You know, about being kind, being respectful.
It's like that comment gave him an idea. Instead of being all bummed out, he saw a chance to do good. And that's where this Orem Motors comes in.
Right, right. So he decides, okay, I'm not going back to Lux Auto House. I'm going to buy my car from this other company, Orem Motors. And they're known for being inclusive,
Oh.
putting the customer first. And they saw this as a chance to support a good message. That's how the Drive Respect campaign got started.
So he gets a new car, a nice one too, and he ends up starting this whole national conversation about respect and understanding without even meaning to, really.
Yeah, exactly. And Orem Motors, they saw how powerful his message was, how many people were listening to him. So they made it into a whole campaign, ads, the whole thing. And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, hold on. Let's get into that in the next part. This is already, this is a lot to take in.
So this Drive Respect campaign, it wasn't just like some marketing thing, It was like people really wanted something positive, something everyone could get behind, especially with everything so divided these days.
Right, like it hit a nerve. I mean, who doesn't want to be treated with respect? It shouldn't matter what you believe
Right.
or where you come from.
Exactly. And the thing is, it became more than just, about that first incident, about Barron or Lux Auto House. It was about something bigger.
And Orem Motors, they didn't just talk, they actually did stuff like
Yeah.
training for their employees about diversity and inclusion, setting a new standard for how you treat customers.
They got it. Respect isn't just saying please and thank you. It's about making sure everyone feels welcome and valued. And people notice that, even outside the car world.
It's crazy how this whole thing, starting with something bad, ended up making good things happen. Schools started using Drive Respect in their lessons, teaching kids to be nicer to each other. Companies use it to make their workplaces more inclusive.
It shows you how powerful a story can be.
Right.
What could have been just another viral video, it made people actually talk about respect, about being civil, something we kind of need these days.
And social media, which people always say is so negative, it actually helps spread this good message. The hashtag Drive Respect, it was trending forever. People were sharing their own stories, how they dealt with bad situations, but still chose to be kind.
Right. It's like Social media can be bad, sure,
Yeah.
but it can also do good. Depends on how we use it, I guess.
This all makes me wonder, though, like, if Barron hadn't been so calm, would it have had the same impact? What do you think?
That's a good question. Hard to say for sure. But I think him being so chill, it really helped. He didn't get angry or try to get revenge. He just, like, disarmed the whole thing, ended up on top.
It's like that saying, right? You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react.
Exactly. And that's something we can all learn from, I think. There's so much negativity, so much conflict these days. But we have a choice. We can let it get to us, or we can try to be understanding, try to make things better.
It's tough sometimes, but Barron's story shows us it's possible.
For sure. And remember, being respectful doesn't mean you're okay with bad behavior. It's about doing the right thing, setting a good example.
So while all this is happening with Orem Motors and Drive Respect, what about Lux Auto House? What happened to them?
Well, they got what was coming to them. That video, it caused a huge backlash. People stopped going there, left bad reviews online, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, talk about bad PR. It shows, like, you can't just ignore respect anymore, especially with social media. Things can blow up so fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your reputation can be gone, just like that. Lux Auto House, they ended up firing the manager, made a public apology and everything. But the damage was done.
It's like a reminder, right? What you do has consequences, online and offline. But even with all that, Barron didn't celebrate, he didn't try to rub it in.
He stayed focused on the big picture.
Yeah.
Promoting respect, being understanding. He even said, I hope they learn from this,
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen again.
That's pretty big of him, It would have been easy to, enjoy their failure. But he stuck to his message. And all this leads up to a big moment, Barron's 18th birthday. Okay, let's talk about that in the last part. This whole thing is really making me think. Okay, so Barron turns 18, and he doesn't, throw a big party or anything. Instead, he uses it as a chance to, send a message. What'd he do?
Well, for his birthday, he put out this video talking about, everything that happened, how this whole thing, it started bad, but then turned into, a movement for good.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, right? He could have been all, upset about what happened. But instead, he used it to do something positive, something bigger than himself.
It shows a lot of maturity, for someone his age especially. He talked about how important it is to be kind, even when things are rough. And he said, let's make respect go viral, just like the campaign.
It's like he took this negative thing and made it into a way to start a movement, and it connected with people, everywhere.
It's interesting. It's kind of the opposite of what we usually see. In the news, on social media, it's all about people fighting, being divided. But it's about coming together, understanding each other.
It is. It's a nice change. But do you think this Drive Respect thing will last? Or is it just, a trend that'll fade away?
That's the big question, right? Hard to say for sure, but I think it's definitely got people thinking. It's like these started a conversation about respect, about being inclusive. In families, in schools, at work.
Yeah, and it made businesses realize, hey, treating people right is actually good for business, not just the right thing to do.
Even other car companies, competitors, they supported the campaign. That says a lot about how powerful the message was. It's like people are realizing we need to be nicer to each other, more understanding.
It's almost like Barron's story, it gave people something they were already looking for. We're all so divided these days. People want to connect, find some common ground.
Yeah, I think you're right. And social media, which is usually blamed for all the negativity, it actually helped spread this good message. The hashtag, it was like a way for people to say, enough with the fighting, We want respect.
It shows that we have power over what we see online, and being positive, it can spread just as fast as the bad stuff.
It can, for sure. But, we got to remember why this story resonated with people in the first place. It's because of the problems we're facing.
You mean the political stuff? How divided everyone is.
Exactly. Think about it. This grown man, he freaks out over a teenager wearing a hat. It shows how messed up things are, how we can't even talk to each other without getting angry.
It's a reminder that we still have a lot of work to do, to find common ground, to be respectful, even when we disagree.
And that's what's important to remember. This isn't just a nice story, it's like a challenge to all of us. To look at our own biases, to be more careful about what we say and do, to actually build a culture of respect.
Yeah, it's about realizing everyone deserves respect, no matter what their politics are, their background, anything. We can't control what other people do, but we can control ourselves. Be the good example,
Exactly. And those little things we do, being kind, being understanding, They can make a difference. They can inspire other people to do the same.
Just like Barron said, make respect go viral. Maybe it sounds cheesy, but what if we actually could?
It's a good goal to have, for sure. And it starts with each of us, you know? Like, what can you do today to be more respectful? Even a small thing, a nice word, listening to someone you disagree with.
Yeah, it can make a difference to other people and maybe even to the world.
That's a good thought, isn't it?
It is. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.